Welcome third year students. This is a new experience and because of lockdown up to 31st, I am trying to take this kind of experiment and let us enjoy the new type of experience I would like to give or share with you through this technology. So the other day I had a discussion on Vedic education, the system of education during Vedic period. I had initiated discussion on salient features of Vedic education, but due to non-availability of electricity, that class could not be conducted. So let me start afresh. Today we will discuss salient features of Vedic education. Salient features of Vedic education, or Vedic period. Vedic period or Vedic education, whatever you may call. I have discussed that from 1500 BC to 1000 BC, that period is known as Vedic period. So there are a number of features of Vedic education. The first one which I had discussed, that is religious education. Most of the programs that were conducted in Gurukula system, that was religious in nature. Emphasis was given on religious and spiritual activities. The main purpose, as we know, Savidya ja vimuktaye, we call it Savidya ja vimuktaye. That is education which liberates. शिक्षा हमको मोक्ष दिए ये मोक्ष प्राप्ति पाई whatever activities you organize, mostly it is religious centered and spiritual centered. धर्म केंद्रिक शिक्षा पिलामान मन रे गोटे धार्मिक भावना चेतना सृष्टि करबा होची वैदिक पीरियड रो लक्ष्य. The next point is गुरुकुल system. वैदिक एजुकेशन रो मुख्य वैशिष्ट्य होची this is गुरुकुल system. Based on गुरुकुल system, students were taken away from home. जो कहाइछि पंचलक्षण विद्यार्थी पंचलक्षणम गृहत्यागी काकस्नान बकध्यान स्वामिनिद्रा तछैवत गृहत्यागी विद्यार्थी पंचलक्षण अल्प हारी अल्प खाइब एवं गृह ठारू दूरे रहिब. तेणु एई भलिया एक वातावरण भितर विशेष करी गुरुकुल रे ए पाठ पढ़ाउथिला. शिक्षक मान पाखरे जाइके पिला माने रहुथिले. Teachers, they were the gurus, they were imparting education in Gurukula. So it was away from the din and bustle of any kind of city life or even home life. They were isolated from home and leading a very pious, religious type of life there in Gurukula system. Then admission to Gurukula. The third point is admission to Gurukula. Like us at 5 plus, we take admission in a school. Similarly, the students, they were admitted in a school through a type of bratopayanana. Janti Brahman manankar brata upanayana hochi. So the upanayana ceremony was conducted in Gurukula. It takes 3 days to complete the ceremony. It takes 3 days, and the students are known as brahmacharis. They become brahmachari, and they are also known as Dyuja. When we take birth from our parents. That is our first birth. Then after Upanayana ceremony, the gurus, they give us second birth. Therefore, the students are known as Dyuja. So they are to study there in Gurukula system for 12 years for completion of their courses. That is one of the important features, that the ancient Vedic period was mostly centered around Gurukula system. Then ideal guru, that is another feature of Vedic period, that is ideal gurus. The gurus were ideal. They are man of caliber, class, integrity, honesty, character. So they have exemplary character. Students used to learn many things from their activities, from their experience, from their talks. So they are motivators. They inspire the students. So the gurus were of high caliber. And you know many of the gurus in those days, Ekalavya, Aroni, they are students and they had got education from their gurus. Drona, he was guru there. So uncomparable. You cannot find guru like him. So many gurus were there. We will be discussing, when we will discuss the teachers during Vedic period, we will discuss the many types of teachers who were available there. Next feature hochi, as is the guru, so is the shishya. As is the teacher, so is the disciple. ତେଣୁ ସେଠି ଯେଉଁ ପିଲାମାନେ ସବୁ ପଢ଼ୁଥିଲେ they were very very disciplined. ମୁଁ ଯେଉଁ କହିଲି ଏକଲବ୍ୟ କଥା କହୁଛି, ଆରୁଣି କଥା କହୁଛି, how disciplined they were, how they are obedient. So the disciples of Gurukula system, they were very very disciplined, very punctual, honest, duty bound. They were very obedient, paying too much of respect to their teachers. And the next point is, therefore, there is cordial relationship between the teacher and taught. The teacher is just like the father. He was taking care of the students. He was taking all kinds of care of the students just like his own children. And in return, the students, the disciples, they also paid due regards to the teacher. So, even in a very cordial manner, homely atmosphere, they were studying. They were doing all kinds of works of the teacher. Even they were plowing, making gardening, all kinds of things. They were staying in Gurukula system, means they are staying in the home of the teacher. Teacher was the fatherly person, godly person, all kinds of respect, devotion, everything they were having for the teacher. Then the next point is multiple courses of study. In Gurukula system, the teacher was giving different kinds of education to the students. So therefore, we can say that there are multiple courses of studies. Grammar, ethics, logic, astronomy, chanda, translation, all kinds of things were taught to the students. That is why a student can gather various types of experience which will develop his personality, all-round personality. How he will physically develop, mentally develop, how he will be socially adjustable to the environment, how he will adapt himself to the changing environment, how he will lead a successful social life. Everything, for everything he has to get some unique experience at Gurukula system. So variety of experiences were imparted to the students by conducting different types of courses. So there are multiple courses. Then individualized instruction. This is more important. Nowadays we are talking of individualized instruction. Individualized instruction means the teacher has to pay due attention to the individual child. His aim is not to teach the entire class. He has to teach the child. So the child will be taught according to his own attitude, aptitude, temperament, intelligence, whatever psychological traits he has. According to his needs, he will get education from his teacher. So the child is focused. As we call pedocentrism in education, child-centered approach in education. So individual attention. After this ceremony is over, once he becomes a student, brahmachari, once he is admitted in the Gurukula ashram, then it is the responsibility of the teacher to take the child with him. So each child is given due attention in Gurukula system. That is why we call it individualized instruction. Every child must proceed at his own pace. निज गति रे पिला जीवो, निज अनुसार जीवो, निज भगवान तक जति बुद्धि बुद्धि देइचंती ताकू नै कि से आगु को जीवो. So therefore the focus is on every individual child. So teachers were recognizing the individual potentiality of the child. Accordingly, they were giving all kinds of scope, facilities for promotion of those qualities, the inherent talents of the students. So each student was given due recognition in Gurukula system. Then the next one is emphasis on character formation. As you know that is a popular saying, थाउ पछे मोर गुण हजार चरित्र नथिले सबु असार. Character is most important. So in Gurukula system there is no compromise with character. Every teacher focuses on formation of character, how the students will develop some good qualities in them: honesty, punctuality, sincerity, dutifulness, obedience, sacrifice, cooperation, tolerance, fellow feeling. All kinds of qualities are to be inculcated into the minds of the students, so that student can develop balanced personality. He can become a good person. Man making education. Hello, Monisati. So the focus was on improving or developing the character. Education for character formation, that was one of the major areas of Gurukula system. Next feature, psychological method of teaching. During Vedic period, the method of teaching which was being adopted, that was psychological. Why psychological? There are three important methods followed during Vedic period. The first method is Shravana. First you listen. The students, they listen. Everything. The teacher recites, teacher discusses, and they listen. Shravana. Once you listen, then you have to internalize. Jaha sunilo taku puni bhitor ko naba padibo. So manana, shravana, manana. तृतीय मेथड होची निधिध्यासन, meditation. Many things we can learn through meditation. We can internalize things through meditation. गोटे होची श्रवण, मनन, निधिध्यासन. ये तीनटा मेथड वैदिक पीरियड व्यवहार करा होता. तेणु पिलाटी जन्म हो देखिब प्रथम कथा जे शुणिब. तेणु से शुणिबार आरंभ होला. शुणिब तार से बढ़ी बढ़ी जाऊँगी छोट पिलाटे से अनुसार तार अंतकरण होची, तार अंडरस्टैंडिंग होची. तेणु फर्स्ट इज लिसनिंग, श्रवण, मनन एंड निधिध्यासन. दैट इज द लैटर पार्ट. तेणु थ्री इंपोर्टेंट मेथड्स दैट दोज वर एम्प्लॉयड और यूज्ड ड्यूरिंग द वैदिक पीरियड, पर्टिकुलरली इन गुरुकुल सिस्टम. सो इट वाज साइकोलॉजिकल इन नेचर. Then Sanskrit was the medium of instruction. Sanskrit was the medium of instruction. It was the lingua franca. It was the language of rich people. Although some people speak different dialects, different languages, but particularly for education purpose, Sanskrit was the medium through which students were taught. That was during the Vedic period in Gurukula ashram, Sanskrit was followed. And then women education. Another feature is women education. During Vedic period, women education was also given due recognition, due emphasis. Girls, they were admitted in Gurukula system. They were known as Rishikas. Many Rishikas. They had the students, those who were admitted, subsequently they became teachers. These Rishikas, they also produced some good quality of books, literature, and those things were also studied by other fellow students. So women students, once girl students were admitted, subsequently they became good teachers, and they also imparted good quality of education to the inmates, the ashramvasi, to the brahmacharis. All of them got education from even through Rishikas. Then development of personality. During Vedic period, the main focus was on development of total personality of the child. That is why all kinds of activities were organized in Gurukula system with a view to developing the total personality of the child. Physical activities. For physical activities, exercise, sports, then asana, pranayama, all these were organized by the teachers. Even students or inmates of the ashram, they were doing plowing land, cultivating land, they were doing some gardening, they were also going to villages for collection of alms. Why these students were going to villages for collection of alms? कारण होची आमे गोटे भिक्षावृत्ति टाका आमे कोन भाबो छोट भाबना भिक्षा करबा when you go for this as a student you will be humble तमरो जो हाई हैंडेडनेस लगा था मन भीतर जो गर्व भाव आया था सेटा बढ़िबो नै कारण यू आर गोइंग फॉर यू आर बेगिंग तुमको नम्र करियो धीर करियो तमे निश्चित भाव में निजको गोटे भल व्यक्ति हिसाब से तमे गढ़ी तोड़ियो that is why they were going to villages and collecting alms. They are also going to forest for collection of fuels. Just like your own house, you have to develop crops, cultivate certain fruits, vegetables, do some physical exercise. So for physical development, all these activities were organized. Even you have to tend cows, गाई रखुले गाई को खाया दौले ग्रास आणुले तेणु गाई रखा परिवा चाष करवा फल पनीपरिया चाष करवा भिक्षावृत्ति करवा जंगल में जाइकरी काठ आनिबा ये सब काम जब आम घरे करूँ पिलाने सब करुले दैट वाज डेवलपिंग देयर फिजिकल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ पर्सनालिटी व्यक्तित्व परिस्फुटन होगा ये बहुत साहाय्य करे फॉर इंटेलेक्चुअल डेवलपमेंट नंबर ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स आर टॉट वेद पढ़ा होची ग्रामर पढ़ा होची एथिक्स एस्ट्रोनॉमी छंद पुराण ट्रांसलेशन मेनी थिंग्स आर टॉट नो इंटेलेक्चुअल डेवलपमेंट देन स्पिरिचुअल डेवलपमेंट मोर फोकस वाज ऑन द रिलीजियस एस्पेक्ट्स सो रिलीजियस एक्टिविटीज प्रेयर एंड अदर टाइप्स ऑफ क्लासेस moral lectures lessons were taught thereby the physical aspects of a personality that will develop. So in Gurukula system, balanced personality, physical, intellectual and spiritual and moral, all types of personality aspects are there. All these types of personality develop, grow during the period of education in Gurukula system. So Vedic system of education intended to develop a balanced personality. So these are some of the important features of Vedic period of education. We will discuss in detail each aspect, aims of education, what should be the curriculum during Vedic period, what should be the teacher, the role of teacher, what should be the teacher-taught relationship, what type of students were there, what type of discipline was enforced in the Gurukula system. All these things we will discuss in detail, step by step. And now we will discuss the aims and objectives of Vedic education. So I hope you have understood some of the salient features of Vedic education. Now let us start aims and objectives of education during Vedic period. Aims and objectives of education during Vedic period. Aims and objectives of education during Vedic period. So one of the important aims is liberation. जेमते हमर को आइछि वेदरे सा विद्या जा विमुक्तये, that is education which liberates. और टागोर कहउछथि education means emancipation. Education emancipates us from the bondage of dust. Education means therefore acquisition of liberation, moksha, nirvana, whatever you may call. So during Vedic period, the main focus was on how to attain liberation, how to achieve self-realization, self-actualization, God realization, that is liberation. When somebody dies, we say Ram Naam Satya hai, Hari Naam Satya hai. That is the ultimate truth. So we have to attain the ultimate truth. That is liberation. It will help you. Education will enable you to emancipate yourself from the bondage of dust. That is the main focus. The second one is control of mind. How can you achieve liberation? Unless you control your mind. So through education, you have to control your mind. You will focus on one thing, that is God. Truth is God. God is truth. How to achieve this? Self-realization. When a child is born, sometimes he cries. Some philosophers say the child is asking the question, Ko aham, ko aham, who am I? He is getting the answer towards the latter part of his life. So the main focus of Vedic education is to enable you to control your mind so that you can achieve salvation, you can achieve mokhyam, you can achieve nirvana. That is why it is said education means achieving salvation. Savidya ja vimukta. Education means achieving liberation. ये संसार केमती आम मुक्ति पाइबा निर्वाण प्राप्ति पाइबा ये होची शिक्षार मूल लक्ष्य. Then realization of truth, that is another objective. Realization of truth. Mahatma Gandhi कहते ultimate goal of education is self-realization. Who am I? The child must understand. He has come from greater divinity and his soul will be mingled with the greater divinity after he dies. Shakala Ghate Narayan, that is truth. God is truth, truth is God. So, to attain this, all kinds of activities are to be organized in the Gurukula system. So, the teachers, they focused on such activities so that the students were able to realize the presence of Brahma, the presence of truth, to attain Brahma, to attain the God, to realize self or to realize Brahma. That was main focus. Then integrated development of personality. While discussing the features, we discussed the focus was on development of physical aspect, physical development, mental development, moral and spiritual development. So the aim of Vedic education was to develop the total personality, the all-round development, all-round personality of the child. That was main focus. The next aim of Vedic education is inculcation of higher values. Jivanara higher values. What are the higher values? Truth, beauty and goodness. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Our Sandhan Kariba hochi pratyeka pilara. How to achieve this? How to see God in everything? God has created several things in the world and you have to see the presence of God in everything. In water, in air, in natural surroundings, in sky, everywhere the presence is felt. Today, Odia Gitar Pada Manapuchi Mutamu Kaido Jani je how you can feel the presence of God in each and everything that is available around us. Gitar Ebra Tila Pilavane Kahare Kiese Sabujai Bananira Akase Jhatakae Tajotira Prakase Kathare Jahara Bahire Pavana Kathare Jahara Bahire Pavana Kaha kaha Adesare Barasaje Barase Kahare Kiese Tenu ame pavanare ho barsare ho prati renure ame tankar satta upalabdhi kariba. That is the realization of higher values of life, truth, beauty and goodness. Then the next point is formation of character. I have already explained how character is emphasized during Vedic period. In Gurukula system, teachers focused more on development of character of students. students, they should come out as good citizens, having honesty, different types of qualities, higher values of life they must have learned. Tolerance, fellow feeling, sacrifice, integrity, punctuality, duty, boundness, allegiance to the country. All these are some of the qualities that will make you a good man, a man of character, man of integrity. So the focus of Vedic education was formation of good quality, of a good character. Next is adherence to worldly requirements or worldly requirements leading to worldly life. When you are studying in Gurukula system, the focus is not only to inculcate spiritual values in you, but to give you such education. You will learn such skill and competency. You will gather so much of experience, so that at latter stage, when you enter into your social life, you can lead a good life. Education will inculcate in you those experiences, those knowledge, those values, those skills. By using those, you can lead a successful, good life in society. That is the aim of education during Vedic period. Next pillar, generation of civic and social responsibility. A child has to pass through 4 stages of life. When he is admitted in Gurukula system, he is a brahmachari. He has to follow the principles of brahmacharya. Brahmachari, he has to follow certain principles. Then after his schooling is over at Gurukula system, at Gurukul, he will come out and join Grahastha life. He will lead his social life. And after certain years, then he will go for, when he will grow old, at old age, he will go to forest, jungle again, Vanaprastha. And what's the fact end? He will realize that he will get liberation. He will realize that Brahma, that is Yatibrata, the last one, that is salvation and the end of life. So one has to go through the 4 stages: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Yatibrata. So education will enable you to lead successful life at each stage. So therefore, education is to generate in students certain civic and social responsibilities, so that he can discharge his duties perfectly at each stage. Okay? Then the next one is inculcation of spirit of piety and righteousness. What is good? What is bad? What is rational? What is irrational? What is to be done? What not to be done? So you have to distinguish. The child will get such type of education, so that he will be in a position to distinguish between good and bad, right and wrong, and definitely he will lead a path where only the right ones are followed, the right ones are adapted, the bad ones are eliminated. So that is the focus of education. Education will enable the students to learn good things, right manners, to develop right attitude, good attitude, and eliminate all kinds of bad things from them. Then the next point is preservation and dissemination of cultural heritage. This is one of the important functions of education. You have to inculcate in the minds of the students, the learners, our cultural heritage, our culture, our traditions, our customs, and this will be transmitted to the succeeding generation. The students who are coming, they will get such education, so that at latter stage, when they will enter their life, they will follow certain things. They will adopt their own culture, so that our cultural heritage, that will be transmitted and preserved. It will not be lost by the succeeding generation. They will follow the same thing, the same practices which their forefathers their ancestors, they were following. So the responsibility of education is therefore to inculcate the social values, the cultural heritage, our faith, our belief, our worship, our festivals, traditions, customs, everything to the succeeding generation. So in Gurukula system, during Vedic period, students were getting different types of exposure so that they were leading good life at latter stage. Next aim of education during Vedic period is development of consciousness in learners about 3 depths. When we are born with 3 depths. ଗୋଟେ ପିଲାଟି ଜନ୍ମ ହେଲେ 3ଟା ଋଣ ସେ କରୁଛି, ଋଣ ନେଇକି ଜନ୍ମ ହେଇଛି। ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ହେଉଛି ପିତୃ ଋଣ, ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ହେଉଛି ଋଷି ଋଣ, ଡେପ୍ଥ ଅଫ୍ ସେର୍ଭାଣ୍ଟ, ଡେପ୍ଥ ଅଫ୍ ପ୍ୟାରେଣ୍ଟସ୍, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଉଛି ଡେପ୍ଥ ଅଫ୍ ଗଡ୍, ଈଶ୍ୱରଙ୍କ ଋଣ। So as you grow up, you have to repay these 3 types of debts you have borrowed. Pitru Runa, how can you repay? You will produce certain children. You will give them right kind of education. They will lead your life. They will maintain the family. So the family legacy that will be maintained through your children. So that is the way to repay Pitru Runa. Then depth of the servants, Rishi Runa, how can you repay? The rishis, the great rishis, they have developed some literature, some books, some literature they have produced. You have to go through that literature, what is there, and you have to practice those things in your day-to-day life. Whatever is there in those books, you read the books, find the principles, values, education contained in the book and practice in your day-to-day life. So thereby you can repay the loan you have borrowed from the rishis, and the debt you have borrowed from God. God has produced you as human being. So you do certain noble things. You are the best creature. Man is the best creature of God. So as the best creature, you have to sacrifice many things for the fellow beings, for other people living around you, and also you have to sacrifice everything. You have to conduct Homa. Through Homa, you have to sacrifice. So that spirit of sacrifice that must develop in you. You should contribute to the society, your fellow beings, and also to God by organizing different homa, yajna, all this. Thereby you can repay the debt of God. So these are the 3 debts the child must remember, and during Gurukula system he was taught how to repay these 3 debts. And the last aim of Vedic education is developing vocational efficiency. That is one of the important aspects. Because when you complete your education, you enter your social life, you want to lead a good life. You must yearn for your bread and butter. You have to stand on your own feet. Unless you acquire some vocational knowledge, vocational skill, vocational competency, you cannot lead a good life. Life will be miserable for you. So that is why how to survive in society, some sort of vocational education will be there. That is why in Gurukula system you develop some craft, you plow land, you arrange some vegetable, you go to forest to collect fuels, and you also tend cows. Some sort of physical labor you render in Gurukula system so that you will learn these skills, how to plow, how to make gardening, how to make cultivation, how to go to forest to collect fuel. So all these will help you to lead a successful life at later stage. So these are some of the aims of education during Vedic period, which intends to develop a balanced personality, all-round personality by inculcating certain education which will promote your physical development, mental development, social and spiritual development, and also inculcate some vocational values, skills, competencies in you so that you can become a very successful person afterwards when you complete your education in Gurukula system. So thank you very much, and in my next class we will discuss the curriculum, the methods of teaching, role of teacher, the type of teacher-taught relationship and discipline of education during the Vedic period. Okay, so these things we will discuss later on. Thank you very much. This is a new type of exposure to you. This is different from classroom situation. That is why some points may not be so much be clarified to you because you may be requiring some more information. So for that you can personally contact me. We will discuss. But in nutshell, these are some of the salient features and aims of Vedic system of education. Thank you all.